What will be your group's contribution to the new Center for Biosustainability?
We are plant biologists and plant biochemists, and we know quite a lot about plants, how they function and how they live. And one unique property of plants is their ability to make a lot of compounds to defend them against the environment. Many of these compounds are used by us as drugs, and our objective is to elucidate the pathway for synthesis of these compounds, valuable medicinal drugs, and transfer the pathways into microorganisms.
The transfer of diversity of plants into microbial production, that will be in your focus, will it?
Well, plants produce these compounds and we can isolate them from some medicinal plants, but typically in very low amounts. And also plants produce a range of these compounds, so it's very difficult to get them isolated. Likewise, some medicinal plants are rare, and if we just really exploit nature, they may be extinct. So transferring the pathways to microorganisms gives you a much cleaner production system. Also, the isolation procedures will be more simple.
How soon do you expect to have a real breakthrough in your production?
Well, many of these pathways are highly complex, with many types of reactions making complex molecules. So elucidating or finding out all the genes for a specific pathway may take several years. However, many of the core structures are also complex, and just making the core structures of the compounds would enable organic chemists to decorate the molecules to make the final products. This is also offers another opportunity because the products made by plants may not necessarily be the most effective ones. So making chemical derivatives, similar molecules, might also augment the properties of the compounds or reduce side effects of using the compounds.
And in which product line do you think that you first will have a result?
We will be working with diterpenoids. These are highly complex molecules. Terpenoid synthases, cytochrome P450s are involved in their production. And some of these enzymes are labile, but as I said, the terpenoid cyclases, the synthases, they make the carbon core structures. They can be 5, 7, or 11 membered rings. And just having those core structures made will facilitate synthesis of the final drug. And I think we will have those in the first 2 years. I expect 2 of the pathways we will have the synthases isolated.
What impact could your research have on the cell factories in Denmark?
Well, Denmark is known as having a lot of strong biotechnology industries, and medicinal industries are among those. And they need, if we need Denmark to prosper, then the medicinal industry still needs to be in the forefront. And I foresee a strong collaboration with Danish medicinal companies, of course also with international companies or other companies if the Danish companies are not interested in these types of compounds we are making. But it's a way to renew the pharmaceutical industry, to provide new inputs into the pharmaceutical industry, to develop this further. And hopefully also to design systems which enable the production of the drugs at a lower price, so that the skyrocketing prices for treatment of diseased people will not increase so much. This center gives the foundation to embark into this huge endeavor. These are very complex molecules, but I think that's the way forward. We don't use, tons of each of these molecules, like if you have talking about fine chemicals or bulk chemicals to substitute for petrol. But the chemical synthesis of the molecules is highly complex, typical 50, 60 chemical steps. So a lot of energy and a lot of waste products are produced in this process, and this is what we want to substitute with using enzymes from plants.
What do you think is the biggest challenge to the world in this new switch from oil-based chemistry to bio-based chemistry?
Well, this is to have to make the bio-based industry commercially viable. So depending on the taxes which are put on petro-derived products, And depending on how we progress in elucidating these pathways, getting the microbial systems to work, that's sort of the balance. So we need to make products which are not exceedingly expensive. Because if the compounds are too expensive, then the implementation of the technologies will be delayed. So it's really a concerted effort, which I think is the basis for this center, to have some people focusing on making the cell-based factories, and other people like us to elucidate the pathways to be incorporated into these factories. I think this combination may shorten the pathway quite a lot.